Now, I want to put something into context. Late last night, I put up a post on social media with regards to the score, the full-time graphic that I put up. And I put same old West Ham, brand new West Ham, felt the same as the old West Ham. A bit of I suppose, kind of knee-jerk reaction. I'd watched 95% of the game, and a lot of it felt the same as what I watched last year. I've had time to reflect. I've had time to calm down. I've had time to take stock, if you want. And whilst quite a bit of me still feels the same, I have had time to take a look, take away the positives, and just consider kind of where we're at, if you want, if you understand my meaning. It wasn't pretty at times. I have to say, I was a bit miffed. I was a bit annoyed. I was a bit taken aback and despondent at times. There were points, especially in the second half, where Jared Bowen was playing more of a right back than Vladimir Soufal was. He was actually, although Soufal was deep and defensive, Bowen was behind him. Same with Kudus and Emerson. And then in the middle, I think at one point I worked it out that Mikel Antonio was only 10, 15 yards outside of our box, whilst Villa had the ball on the halfway line. And as I've put in the titles to this video, old habits die hard. And it really does feel that way. You know, the players kind of, I've heard the phrase Moyes ball branded around for the last few hours, different videos, different channels, and I get it. I do. It is very much has that feeling, doesn't it? It very much has that aura, if you want, around it. Now, that being said, listen, I went into the game. If you watch the takeover video, the preview, you'll see that this was my desire to see as a starting lineup. Where are we? There we are. Hello. What we got formation-wise wasn't a million miles away, but personnel-wise, it really was. And this has been screenshot straight from the matches part of Google. And this is how they had both teams lining up. So as you can see there, Areola in goal. We had Soufal, Mav, Kilman, Emerson. Then we had Rodriguez. Then we went with Bowen, Souček, Paqueta, Kudus, and Antonio up front. And then obviously you've got the Villa line up there. I'll be honest with you. I thought Leon Bailey was one of their better players. I thought he was dangerous. I thought he was a big thorn in our side at times. But that's how the two teams lined up, 4-1-4-1, which again, as I've said, if you go back one, you'll see that that's how I wanted us to line up, except I had the starting, the new signings starting. Now, the game kicked off and Souček actually had our first opportunity. Second minute, right-footed shot, edge of the box. He drags it wide. It goes wide. And 2 minutes later, Villa go up the other end. They get a corner. In my opinion, it's not defended very well. Areola isn't blocked, so it frustrates me when a goalkeeper doesn't come when they're not blocked. But then on the other hand, it frustrates me when a goalkeeper tries to come and is quite clearly blocked. So, I have frustrations there. I have frustrations that, Kilman doesn't do much. Mavropanos is blocked. And really, it's just an easy header for Onana. And again, I understand the irony there is we tried to sign him. Everton offered him more money. He goes there. And now he's at Villa and comes and breaks hearts. You know, puts them 1-0 up after just 4 minutes. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't even watching the game at this point. I literally was coming back from my brother's game, which I will do a little caveat at the end of this video with regards to Long Lane. But I just got out of the car and was walking down back to the tavern, to obviously where I had a table reserved with friends. And I got back in on 6 minutes, and we're already 1-0 down. And listening to the guys, they weren't happy. You know, the guys that I came in and talked to my pals, and it, you know, the general consensus was same old, same old. The game goes on. And as the game went on, I could see what we were trying to do. That doesn't make it any less frustrating, but I could see what we were trying to do. You know, Villa were on top for probably about half an hour, but I could see what we were trying to do. And, you know, we kept at it. We kept knocking at the door, if you will. And we get the penalty. Now, I've seen some videos and listened to some comments. It's a penalty. It's not a penalty. If that's given against us, I'd be raging, all the rest of it. I'm on that one. If that's given against us, I'm fuming. Matty Cash gets the ball. It's clumsy. It really is. But he wins the ball. Now, here's the kicker. Take that outside of the box and anywhere else on the pitch. Is that necessarily given as a free kick? No, it's not. Probably 75% of times in a Premier League game, that's not given as a free kick. And that's the frustrating thing for Villa. Listen, I'm going to take it. Last season, we were on the receiving end of some dodgy VAR decisions, some dodgy refereeing decisions. And listen, I'm going to take it. Obviously, Paqueta then steps up, does his typical stuttery stuff. I hate it. But he converts it. It's 1-1. And from there, I felt that we started to not dominate, but that's the rest of that first half. I felt that we were coming into our own. We were doing okay. We seemed like we were getting on top, and we looked like we were showing the shoots, the seedlings of what was to come. We come out for the second half, and again it was just much the same. Again, you know, we were being forced back. You know, I thought that Kudus and Matty Cash was a fantastic battle out on that wing. It really was. But I do believe by putting Kudus out onto the wing, we do lose some of what he can do. But then we also lose Paqueta if we put Paqueta out there. You know, so it's that kind of, I don't know, it's that kind of difficult situation. I think it's Gio over on Hammer's chat does allude to it when he says that you have to sacrifice the best performance of one of the three, Bowen, Kudus and Paqueta. You're not going to be able to put all three into the team and get their best out of them. One of them has to sacrifice something from their game to allow the other two to have better games, if you want, or their best, and showcase their best. Today, Bowen wasn't fantastic. Bowen wasn't fantastic. But because of that, with shoehorn Kudus out onto the left, we didn't see the best of him either. Paqueta was too deep for me. He can't influence the game when he's so deep without runners in front of him. And I'll address how I see that going in another post, another video. So we come out, like I say, second half, it's much the same. Then on 62 minutes, Villa make 2 substitutions and they take off, sorry, beeping outside. They take off Ollie Watkins and they take off John McGinn. They bring on Jacob Ramsey. They bring on John Duran. Now, Ramsey, I think he's a fantastic talent. And I can see him going on and having a fantastic future in the game. John Duran comes on, like I say, 4 minutes later, he races into the box down the left. And rather than pulling it across goal, he goes for a shot and he puts it wide. I made a comment which was probably not the best comment I could have made. Now, the comment was, that's not the ability of a £40 million striker. That's why we didn't pay £40 million. That there were 2 players racing into the box, one on the edge, one on the far right side. A ball across the box. That's a goal for Villa. He goes for goal. He wants the accolades. He wants to show that's why you should have spent £40 million on me. And he puts it wide. And I make the comment, that's not what a £40 million player does. Oh, boy, did that come back and bite me. You go on to the 73rd minute and we make 3 substitutions. Take off Antonio, we bring on Fulkrug. We take off Bowen and we bring on Somerville. We take off Paqueta, we bring on Ward-Prowse. Now, here's my issue with that. Straight off the bat. What you've done is you've taken off 2 players there that are the players that can win us games. Now, as I already said, Bowen, I thought, had a poor game. Not enough minutes under his belt in pre-season. He's come back from the Euros. I think he really only played in the Celta Vigo game? I think he got some minutes under his belt in the Palace game, but not much else. So he's not really had a full pre-season under his belt. So you have to then consider that, more sirens, you have to then consider that the longer the game went on, the more he struggled. But when you take him and Paqueta off and you're bringing on Somerville, who's still trying to get into the way we play, you're bringing on Ward-Prowse. Straight off the bat, I'm sitting there scratching my head and I'm asking the question, why? Don't get me wrong, I think it shows big cojones for Lopetegui that he hoiks these players off. He doesn't care about egos. He doesn't care about Bowen being captain. If you're not having a good game, off you go kind of thing. So I like that idea. I wasn't sure when you're taking off our 2, shall we say, talismanic players. For me, it didn't compute. And then I felt that another couple of substitutions for Villa. One was a positive substitution for me, and the other one was quite negative. They took off Leon Bailey for Philogene. I thought Bailey was superb yesterday for Villa. I really did. I really rate him. I really like him. I'm gutted he's not the sort of player we've got. But then they bought on Ian Martson, and they took off Luca Digne. Now, what happened there was Somerville went to our left, and then he was put up against Matty Cash. And on the other side, Kudus moved over. Now, as I've said, Kudus, I felt, had the better of his battle with Matty Cash. I thought it was a proper old-fashioned duel between a winger and a fullback, and it was brilliant to watch. Problem was, Ian Martson took Kudus completely out of the game, in my opinion. I think Martson dominated Kudus, and we suffered because of that. 5 minutes after those substitutions, lo and behold, what happens? My £40 million comment comes back and bites me in the rear end, because Ramsey goes down goes down the left. He pulls it back, and who's standing there? It's John Duran. Tucks it into the back of the net. I've watched his celebration back a few times. Now, this is the guy that on an Instagram live or a social media live last month was giving all of this to the camera, thinking that he was coming. Obviously, he's now come off the bench. He's scored against Villa. However, you saw his celebration, it was all of this and all of this. And I wasn't, at the time, I wasn't sure what to make of it. I'd had a couple of brewskis and I wasn't sure how to read it. Was he, you know, I'm here, as in the London Stadium. I'm here in a Villa shirt and I've scored. I'd like to think that that might be that he's coming to us in the next week. I don't know. I think he made amends with some Villa fans yesterday by scoring that goal, as frustrating as it was for us. Then the game went on. 5 minutes to go. We made another couple of substitutions, which I just felt were making substitutions for substitution's sake. If you want, he took off Rodriguez. He brought on Danny Ings. He took off Soufal. He brought on Todibo, and I felt we then went 3-5-2, 3-4-3, however you want to, you know, go with it. And I just didn't. We didn't look until the final seconds of the game like we were going to get anything out of it. You know, Kudus crosses it from the right-hand side. Souček goes up. It's a really good header, but it's not on target. It's going probably 4 foot wide when he makes the header. And then it hits, I don't actually know who it hits. Possibly Konza. Maybe, I can't remember. But it hits them. It comes back to him. And as he's falling backwards, he obviously lashes out with the right foot. And it goes well and truly over the bar. My seat's going down. It goes well and truly over the bar. And, you know, he's on the floor holding his head and pretty much so with the rest of us. And obviously then the full-time whistle goes and we end up, we lose the game 2-1. I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I was angry. My optimism for the obviously for the game had then drained out of me because I just felt about what I'd seen looked very familiar, you know. But I will go back now and say, you know what, I've had a little watch of the replay. I can see what we're trying to do. Someone likened it to a jigsaw puzzle where yesterday we got the 4 corners. We've now got 7 days to find all the edges. And with that, fill the middle in. We play against Palace next week. Palace play in about an hour and 20 minutes from when I'm recording this video. They've got Brentford. I mean, our stats didn't make for awful reading yesterday, I have to say. You know, we had ball possession, more ball possession against the top 6 team. From last season's top 6, we had more possession in a home game against the top 6 side than we did last season. We had 52% possession yesterday. We also had well, I'll tell you what, let me read it out to you. This is something that was posted on yesterday, right? And I'm going to read it directly off of my phone because I've got it here. Both games against Aston Villa, one under Moyes and one under Lopetegui. Under David Moyes against Villa at home, we drew. Moyes had 30% possession. Yesterday we had 52. Shots on target, shots yesterday were 14. Under David Moyes was 13. On target yesterday was 3. Under David Moyes was 4. but both teams only scored 1 goal. And did we look better against Villa than we did against them under Moyes last season? Yes. Yes, I think we do. Can we learn anything from it? No. Because you've got to look. He started Kilman and he started Rodriguez. That was it. Okay, he didn't start Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Somerville, or Fulkrug. Now, I go back to my lineup that I put in earlier. Here, this being my lineup that I'd like to see. Well, I'm going to make some amends to that later down the line. Just because I feel we can still get the players in to the positions that we need to get. But I also do think we can get, we can play a different formation. I can see what we're trying to do. I can see how they're trying to go about it. I am excited with the way that the shoots were there. How comfortable we looked. We go into the Palace game next week knowing that expectations are going to be high on the fan sense. You know what I mean? It's going to be it's an important game for us to see the development. That being said, 1986, we had the best season league-wise as I think we've ever had. Finished third in the old Division 1. Could have still won the league in going into the last game of the season. We didn't win any of it. We lost our first 6 games that year. Still want to have a great season, right? So let's not press the panic buttons just yet. Let's not let's not all flip out and let's not do that because we don't have to. Let's see where we are in 5 games. Let's see where we are in 10 games. Let's take it in 5-game increments. I'm going to, and I'll do a 5-game report, if you will, to see where I feel we've come. As I said earlier, I will do a little bit on Long Lane, my younger brother's side. So they started their first game of the season yesterday. Again, much like West Ham, some new faces in the squad. And they got off to an absolute banger yesterday. For those that are part of a WhatsApp chat that I'm in, you'll know the score. I'm going to pop it up on screen now. There it is. They start the season with a fantastic 7-1 win at home against Crayford Arrows. 2-1 up at half time. 2 very quick goals at the start of the second half kind of put the game to bed and allow them to play. Dodgy decision by the referee for, I think, it was either the 5th or the 6th goal. He awarded a penalty. I'm standing that side of the pitch. I had a perfect view. Wasn't a penalty. I spoke to the referee after the game in the clubhouse. He explained his reasonings. Split-second decision. He doesn't get the benefit of someone else in his ear roll telling him, "You got that one wrong, mate." Can't necessarily listen to us fans on the sideline, despite the fact that it was obviously our team that would, given the penalty. Penalty was well and truly dispatched, and then for goal number 7, a second penalty. This time it was a penalty. At one point, I didn't think the referee was going to give it. He kind of raised his arm, looked like he was giving a goal kick, and we all were like a bit bemused. I did say out loud to a couple of the other guys there watching it with me that he's evened it out, if you will. The first one wasn't a penalty. This one was. He's not given this one. But it turns out he gave the penalty. Again, the penalty dispatched the same way. You could hear the goalkeeper's frustration as he dives the wrong way because he did shout a couple of expletives as the ball went the other side of the goal. So it was a good 7-1 win for Long Lane yesterday. A shout out to the man of the match, Billy Newton. 5 goals, first game of the season. Absolutely blinding performance. He scored 2 of the penalties as well, but he also then gets a hat-trick off the back of that. So a really good start to the season for Long Lane. Not so much West Ham. West Ham go again next Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff against Palace. Long Lane return to the playing fields on Wednesday night for a 6:30 kickoff, I believe it is, against South East Athletic. After the West Ham game on Saturday, I will give you a little report of that game as well. Do me a favour, guys. Like the video. It puts it out there to suggested videos to West Ham fans. You know, they watch the other bigger channels, Hammers Chat, Claret and Booze, the Bobby Moore Stand, West Ham Network Extra. You know, they're all great guys. I speak to all of them. They're fantastic guys. But when people are watching their videos, if you like my video, it kind of bumps me in their direction. So, you know, as a suggested video after one of theirs, I might pop up. So I'm not necessarily trying to jump onto the coattails of these guys. I get that they're fantastic at what they do. They've got the subscribers that they've got because they're fantastic at what they do. Me, I'm just here sitting. I'm just a boy sat in front of a camera, opening himself up. That sounds stupid. But yeah, please leave your comments underneath. Tell me your thoughts on the game. Tell me if you think if I'm being too kind or too negative, depending on how you see my view. And again, subscribers. I think I worked it out. 78%, if not more, of more people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed, just go down, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. You'll then notified when I put up new content. I'm trying to go with more than 1 or 2 a week. But obviously, those that do know, I run a pub. It's very difficult for me to find the time consistently to get things done. But enough. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. It's a pleasure for me to be able to do these videos. It's nice to know that people do watch them. Just leave some comments and I will see you later down the line. Come on, you Irons.